Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today's going to be fun. We're going to be checking out and reviewing the WLtoys V950 3D brushless helicopter. A really cheap helicopter. If you're getting into helicopters, you don't have to only do 3D, you can do regular self-leveling. You can do Acro mode as well, or you can do upside down 3D flight as well. So this one does it all. We're going to review it, test it. I'm not a great 3D flyer, so you're probably going to see some crashing in this video as well. So stay tuned if you want to see all that stuff, and let's get started. Okay, so the box was a little bit mangled. For some reason, it got a little bit damaged by moisture in the shipment, but I'm just going to put this box to the side. Nothing really to see there. We're just going to get right into the V950. So the instruction manual is right on the top here. And check this out. So you're getting extra propellers. You're getting an extra main gear here. You're getting a screwdriver, Allen wrench, an extra tail rotor, and also some extra plastic gears. So pretty much anything that you're going to break within the first couple flights, if you crash it pretty hard, you're going to have extra parts here to get you started before you order new parts. And I will say that I already actually flew this and tested it, and I actually crashed it one time pretty hard and it held up pretty well. But I did strip this main gear here. So I came down really hard in one of the crashes, and you can see that we have some teeth stripped here on the main gear. It still flies very fine actually, it just has some noise. So it seems like it's very durable. I did actually slightly crack the fuselage here. If you take a look really closely, I came down super hard and I got a crack here, and that's the only two things that happened. This got a little stripped and this cracked because I just came down super hard, and the landing gear didn't even crack, but it just pushed up and cracked the main body. Should be pretty easy. They give you a new one in the package, so very easy to change. Here's the battery here. This is a 3S 1500 milliamp hour battery with the Dean's connector. There's your balance plug. So a pretty hefty battery. And here's all of our servos and articulation for the blades. This is a flybar-less helicopter. Here's the tail rotor here and the motor as well. This is a brushed motor on the tail, and then this is a brushless motor for the main rotor of the helicopter. Let's go ahead and pull off the fuselage here and get into the main guts and see how it looks. So you can see how this thing just slides off from the front, and there we go. You know what, let me get this black box out of the way, and so we have a little bit better view of it. Just gonna get the controller out here. One thing I totally missed that was in the package is they do give you a charger. So the charger is just like a wall charger here. Here's the part that plugs into your wall. This was the Euro China type of plug, so they went ahead and threw in a US adapter. Since I am in the US, they put this in the box as well. So this portion plugs into your wall, and then we have the portion that just plugs into the charger itself. This is a 2 to 3S charger, so you can charge 2 or 3S here, and it just basically blinks when the light's done blinking red. It's basically charged. So super simple, works pretty well. Takes about I want to say about a half hour to 45 minutes to charge, maybe even an hour. If the battery's really depleted, it'd probably take about an hour to charge. So brushless motor. It's not saying on the motor what this is, but there's our brushless motor. There's our flight controller board here. Here's all our servos hooked in. 1, 2, 3 servos. Keep in mind this is a very inexpensive helicopter, so you're not going to have all the greatest and latest components, but it looks like it's going to do pretty well. Everything's pretty beefy, bulky. It's going to take some hits. Maybe bending these in hard crashes, so you may have to replace these little servo arms here for the swash plate. But it is a brushless motor, so we're going to have plenty of power. Looks like we've got some carbon fiber or fiberglass tubes back here for bracing. This component here is just plastic. The main tail here is just plastic. They also give you an extra propeller here as well, so if you do damage your propellers, at least you can get back up in the air. And there's a landing gear. So the landing gear is really pliable. It's going to be really hard to break this. Like I said, I already crashed it down really hard from about, I want to say 20 or 30 feet, just came down, boom, hit the ground super hard. So anyway, that's the helicopter. We're gonna have fun flying that in just a second. There's our parts bag again. Here's the instruction manual. Almost forgot to go through this. So all this is doing is it's telling you how to go in and out of Acro mode, how to go in and out of 3D mode, and what all the controls do, which actually I'm going to go through it really quick with you right here on camera. A WLtoys controller, it does have an antenna in here, so we're going to get great range. The antenna actually does come all the way up to the top, the 2.4 gigahertz antenna. Here's a throttle hold, so this, you'll have to flip this down to actually be able to throttle up. And here's the idle up for 3D. So basically, if you're gonna start flying it upside down and stuff, you need to switch this on. Now, like I said, I'm not really a good 3D flyer. I haven't really successfully flown a 3D craft yet without crashing, so you may see some gnarly crashing in this video, but I'm going to save that to the end. I'm going to go ahead and do the flight testing on 6G mode and regular Acro mode this has, and then I'll go at the end, I'll go ahead and attempt some 3D flying upside down and just see how far you can get. So it might be kind of entertaining. So just your basic controls in helicopter and plane talk, it's going to be your throttle, your rudder, your elevator, and your aileron. Just like that. We already went over these two switches. We've got our power off and on switch. Now this controller you can turn into different modes. So you flip this and it does give a spring in here and takes off the spring in here. So if you wanted to do like mode 1 or mode 3 or mode 4, you do have the option to switch these controls around utilizing this, and also this little button down here. Let me zoom in here so you can kind of see this. You see this button here? That's going to change your modes if you do flip this and want different modes of control. Of course, here's our power button, and then we can see the on-screen controls here. We're not linked to the craft, but you know, it's going to give us our battery, what control mode we're in. We can see up here that if we're doing 3D, you see how the helicopter goes upside down. And then we've got our different modes of control. This one has 2 rates of flight, which is cool. You just hit this dual mode button here, and you're going to see over on the left it's in high mode now. It'll go to low. So just like a quadcopter, same basic controls by the way. Low mode is not going to give you quite as much pitch and roll, but when you click into high, it's going to give you a little more so you can go faster. So that's what that's all about. This is the button you're going to press for basically acro or self-leveling mode. 3D mode is going to give you the ability to, the more you push the right stick, it'll actually won't self-level, it'll just keep going. So that's basically Acro mode, and then if you click it again, it'll go back into 6G mode, which is basically kind of like attitude mode on a quadcopter or self-leveling. Anyway, that's everything on the controller. I've already got a few batteries in here. It takes 4 AA batteries. Nice and easy clip shut. Don't have to put any screws or anything. I love that. It's got a little speaker on here for beeping, and I like the handle. It's always nice to have a little handle to carry things around. So if you guys wanted to know how easy it is to change this main gear, I'm just going to go ahead and change this before I get out and do the flight test with you folks, just because this one was stripped. So grab the one in the package, and then all you need is your Allen wrench they give you in the package. And it looks like all this thing has is an Allen screw in the bottom with a little nut on the other side. So we should be able to just pop this off, put the new one in, and keep on going. Pretty much all you do is after you push the new gear on, super simple, just pop the old one off, push the new one on. You want to look inside there and make sure that the metal piece of the main shaft is coming all the way to the bottom of the gear. And what we want to do is we want to kind of hold the gear, just stick your finger in here and kind of twist it until you see the hole kind of open up in the main shaft coming through, and then all we're doing is popping that screw back in. As easy as that. Just make sure that the main spur gear here is lining up with the pinion gear. You can see that the teeth are meshing and everything's good right in there. So probably the hardest part to get everything back on is just pushing the bolt through everything, and then I'm putting the nut on here, getting it kind of seated in there, and just holding the nut on with your finger on the other side, and then screwing this down, the bolt down, and tightening everything up. Okay, all good. So that took me a whole about 5 to 10 minutes to repair. I've got a brand new spur gear on here, and it should be super nice and smooth and quiet flying when we're flying in the flight test. So I'm gonna charge the battery up, pop back on this fuselage, and just like other helicopters, you've just got these little posts sticking out, and you're just pushing the posts into these little rubber grommets. You don't want to go in too deep because then the gears will start rubbing on the main body. So just push them out a little bit just so there's some tension. Anyway guys, that's basically the helicopter. I keep wanting to call it a quadcopter, but this is a helicopter. And let's take the V950 out now to the park, do some flying. I'll go through all the controls and we'll do a flight test, possibly crash test. I'm gonna try 3D mode, some 3D flying, so you'll be the first to see my crashes, and then let's do a pros and cons. Cool, let's go fly. Okay guys, so I'm here at the park with a V950, and really easy. I mean, there's no FPV to worry about on this one. Really simple, so all we need to do is power it on. We're going to do a self-leveling flight using the 6G mode, and then we're going to go into 3D mode and see how it is like in the Acro flipping mode. And at the end, like I was saying, is my first time ever, I'm going to try to do collective pitch mode where we have like a throttle idle, like a constant throttle, and then we're going to try to do some upside down flying like this. May crash it. Let's give it a try. Okay, cool. So first things first, just making sure that throttle hold is up here, and we want this switch down, throttle off, turning on the controller. And then what I'd probably do is make sure your battery is pushed all the way forward, and go ahead and probably put the balance connector, push it down a bit, and then plug in. Set her on down. You're gonna hear those kind of boot up chimes there, and we're pretty much ready to go. Okay, so first things first, we're in L, which is low rates, and we're going to be switching into high rates in just a second. So I think this thing will fly for around 10 minutes. I will have the flight time up on the screen afterwards, but let's go ahead and get started. So what we can see is before I even turn on the ability to spin the motors, we can see that when we push the throttle up, we can see that the blades are pitching. So that's going to give us our altitude increase, our throttle up. Okay, cool. So we turn off throttle hold by pushing this toggle down. Now the blades will spin up, and we want to kind of spin them up kind of slowly because they do have some inertia. And what I want to do is I want to face it like directly away from me. Since I'm not a super good flyer, I want to kind of face it directly away from me and give it a little bit of throttle and come on up. And there we go. So check this out. So I've got a little bit of breeze coming from my back. And you can see how it's kind of affecting it. It's blowing it that way. The breeze is actually coming directly from that direction. And that's why it's flying that way. If you wanted to, you can put some trim into it and trim it out. But I'm just going to kind of leave it how it is. And that's basically it. It's just very similar. If you haven't flown a helicopter before, it's super similar to a quadcopter. You have all the same controls, left, right, roll, which is your ailerons, and then of course your elevator is front and back pitch, and then you throttle up and down on the left stick, and then your rudder or your yaw on the left stick as well. So really simple to fly. Let's go ahead and give it a punch test while we still have a fresh battery. So from a hover to a full punch now. It's pretty quick. It does look like even in a little bit of breeze, you do want to kind of flip it into a high rate. But let's just fly in low rates. This is full pitch forward. Okay, so this is how it's flying. Whoa. Interesting. The wind definitely will affect it. So I'm flying just like I would a quadcopter. Woo. Again, this is dangerous to get too close, especially with these big blades, so I wouldn't recommend it. But I'm just full pitch forward now. With the wind, it's pretty radical. It does seem to get, if the longer you hold it, it does seem to get quite a pitch. You see that there. And I'm just mixing in some roll and stuff. So I'm not a super fluent helicopter pilot, but this is pretty easy to pilot if you know how to pilot a quadcopter. So anyway, that's basically self-leveling mode in low rate. So now I want to switch into high rate, and all you're doing is you're clicking this dual rate button until you see the H on the left of the controller. And now we should get a little bit more pitch and roll with the front stick and just be able to fly it around. It's quite easy to fly. You know, it's a low budget helicopter, so it's not going to be as precision as, like, you know, a very expensive one. This is only like around $100, I think, for this one. So I am still having to give it a little bit of yaw once in a while when I do kind of move it around like this. And quadcopters are kind of the same thing. But that, basically that tail propeller is keeping its head straight, right? For its yaw rate. Anyway, kind of fun. This is full pitch forward and full throttle there. Let's try that one more time. A little close-up shot of it. Let's get it kind of close and do that. So full pitch forward and full throttle now. It is going up a bit. But it's possible. Okay. Cool, so say I'm ready to go into an acro mode. I want to do some flips, but I don't want to go into collective pitch yet. What collective pitch means is when you also go down on the throttle, the blades will push it down. But as you can see right now, when I go down on the throttle, it just kind of stalls and falls down kind of slowly. So we're not going to go into collective pitch yet with the throttle idle. Okay, so first thing we do for 3D mode, which is acro, is we're pressing this little right button here. And that turned off the self-leveling. So I want to make sure I'm in high mode or high rate for this, because you want to be able to correct it pretty quickly. So now you see how I'm not able to self-level. It's going to keep going in that direction, in one direction or the other. So you want to be careful with this. The slow stick movements until you're ready to do something. So I'm going to do a right roll first. You want to get kind of high. So I'm going to full throttle up, and then I'm going to do a kind of a roll like I would with a quadcopter. So full throttle up, rolling to the right, letting off. Nice. So that was super easy. Let's try to do a front flip. Full throttle up, full forward, throttle off. Nice. That was pretty easy. And, you know, all else fails, you just go ahead and hit that 3D 6G button here on the right real quick, and that'll get you back into self-leveling if you panic out. Let's try one more, and then I'm going to try my first attempt at 3D upside down flying. So again, let's do a right roll real quick, maybe a little lower. I don't want to go too low because it seems to roll kind of slowly. Nice. So that was a max roll, and you see how slow it was going. So not any quick flips here. These are nice slow flips. It's our forward flip again. Nice. So if you just want to play around with like regular type of acro flying, that's what you do. And it seems to work pretty good. You're kind of losing, you don't know how to do acro, like, oh, I can't control it. Just press that 3D 6G mode again, boop, and now it will self-level. You see that when I let off the stick, it wants to fight its way back to level when you go neutral on the right stick. So beginners, advanced, and then super advanced for 3D upside down flying, which we're going to try right now. So wish me luck, guys. So first thing I want to do is I want to go into 3D 6G mode by that little right button on the circle. And then I kind of, now keep in mind, what I have to remember is when you're in this mode and you're upside down, you want to pull throttle down to go up, so it kind of reverses everything. So let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm going to switch into throttle hold. I'm going to get a little higher. Switching the left toggle now. Okay, now I'm in throttle hold. Wow, and see how much more responsive it is now? So now if I pull down on the stick, Look at that, it pushes itself down. So that's true 3D mode, guys. This is cool. So this is actually the first time I've ever flown in this, and it's not too hard. So it's actually really responsive, because when you push the throttle up, it goes up. When you pull the throttle down, look at how fast it's coming down. So I know to you advanced flyers, this is not big news to you, but this is my first time, so pretty neat. Okay, now I wanna kind of try to fly upside down. This is the first time ever. Let's give it a try. So I want to be basically rolling forward, getting upside down, and then pulling the throttle back a little. Let's try it. I might just kind of do a slow flip just because it's my first time with it. So throttle up, forward, and then pitch. Whoa, yeah, that worked pretty good. Okay, that was a little bit of a panic attack, but it did work. So you're basically just throttling up and rolling like normal, Acro mode, but then when you get upside down, you're pulling the throttle down, so the blade pitch goes the opposite way, and it's flying upwards when it's upside down. So let's try that one more time. So throttle up, forward, reversing, and then forward again. Whoa! Definitely fun, man. It's hard for me right now to stay level when I'm upside down because I don't know how to do it that good. Let's try one more time. Throttle up, forward. Okay, we're flying upside down, guys. Ooh, ooh. And that's what happens when you don't know what you're doing. Oh, I thought I just ripped the whole controller. So you saw that? I just flipped the throttle hold up super quick, and I want to make sure everything's off before I pick it up. So the throttle hold, you pull that up and you're going to see the X on the propeller, so that's how you can make sure. So I biffed it pretty hard into the grass, and I really hope I didn't break anything on my first like upside down hover attempt. It looks like it's okay. Fuselage kind of just popped off the little grommets. Let's see if the propellers are okay and stuff. Battery slid back just a little bit. I'm going to unplug this. I'm going to double check everything, turn the controller off. And I'm just going to double check everything before we get back up in the air. I'm going to try that again. It does look like the rear propeller bent slightly, and we should be okay just by bending that back just a little bit. It looks like it's pretty soft and pliable, so we should be okay with that. I don't see any stripped gears there. I'm looking at the main spur gear here. I don't see any stripped gears on the main spur, so that's good. And I'm just kind of working the servos here, see if anything really got mangled. This one looks okay. This is the one that it looks a little bent. That did hit pretty hard, like directly down like this, and I just I put the throttle hold on right away just to prevent it from chewing into the ground too much. But besides that, guess what? All the servos seem to be working good. Nothing seems to be bent or broken, so it's definitely going to be durable. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to boot it up again, and let's try a little bit more upside down 3D flight. And then I can definitely be training some more behind the scenes, but I just wanted to show you guys my first experience with it and show you how it might be with a craft like this. It definitely seems fun. Let's see if everything's working. Yeah, so I'm just using, here's the elevator, aileron, servos seem to be working good. Throttle up and down or pitching the blades. It's looking great. Okay, so all good here. Throttle hold off. Launch again. Slowly spin up. Does everything seem okay? No, something's wrong. That's basically full throttle. You know what it seems like? It seems like the top is just spinning on the main shaft. Okay, so that's the problem. So I think I may have broke this this screw bolt combo here. because this whole top portion is spinning without the main shaft spinning, so this shaft is spinning inside here. So anyway, well, I think that's gonna do the review until I figure that out and fix it. Actually, if the Allen wrench can fit in there, yeah, let me go ahead and open that up and see how that, if that bolt is broken. So I don't know if you can see that in the cam here, but that little bolt that's supposed to go all the way through, that broke. So actually that's a good thing. This being a break point, just have to replace this one little bolt going through instead of any of this top stuff or these rods breaking is actually really a bonus. And let's see if they give us any of those in the bag. Nope, I don't see any. So maybe WLtoys can take note of that and give us a couple more of these bolts and nut combos, these little mini screws. Looks like I'm gonna have to find one of these, and that's all I gotta do is replace this bolt so it can drive these blades and I can get the power to lift off. Anyway guys, a little pros and cons. Definitely fun. If you're looking for a helicopter and you're a beginner, I think this is a great buy. You know, like I was saying, I did crash it really hard on my house, like straight down. I was trying to do a flip. I lost control, it was windy, and I kind of came down really hard. Boom! Everything survived except this gear got stripped that I just replaced. And also this just cracked and I taped it up. Besides that, it was fine until I just did that now. Upside down, little crash, and it broke that little bolt, but that's easily replaceable. I just have to find the right bolt. And I think in the instruction manual it does go through all the parts and the sizes, so you can easily either get one of those at your hardware store or order one from online. Shouldn't be a problem. For a little helicopter like this, it had great power, good control. It wasn't super stable in the headlock with the yaw, and I don't think you can expect a whole lot within this price range of around $100 for it to do, you know, Acro 3D if you want to, and be as precision of a flyer as a way more expensive helicopter. But it did better than expected, let me tell you that. It actually, and it's cool that you have the ability to do those Acro modes and also upside down 3D mode, 3D flight for tricks and stuff once you get better. I'm definitely going to be using this one for practicing my upside down 3D flight and tricks because parts are cheap, seems pretty durable, and I like it. Anyway guys, I will have the links down in the description. If you want to check one of these out, I'll have the pricing and where you can get it from. And I really hope you enjoyed that review, and check out my channel. I do a lot of reviews. I'll be doing more helicopters like this and having fun with them, so make sure you subscribe. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.